everyone, we're back.
I'm Cassie, your friendly neighborhood protagonist.
And I'm Sam, your unfriendly neighborhood antagonist.
And today we wanted to talk to you about character development.
There's not really a pros and cons for character development. It's almost absolutely necessary to develop your characters. What we're going to talk about instead are positive character development and negative character development.
Yes, and the important thing to note on both of this is that there shouldn't just be positive character development and there shouldn't just be negative character development, even within one character, because you want all your characters to feel balanced and real. Instead of being an analogy, you want a story, unless you're going for an analogy.
That's very true. And the other important thing, because we definitely said protagonist and antagonist, your villain, can't see but I used air quotes, might be the hero of the story. It really depends on the point of view, because antagonist is a fancy way of saying I'm working against the main character's plans and goals, and those could be, quote, evil or good. It really just, it's critical for point of view.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is your protagonist could start off as a pretty good person and then do a really not great thing. That is negative character development. They are going against what you would normally put as a positive protagonist character. I like those characters a lot more. I'm a big fan of anti-heroes, so like...
Anti-heroes are a good...
So great. But right now what we're going to do is kind of throw out some...
fancy pants terminology.
I was actually talking about throwing out some examples of them.
Oh, golly.
And also terminology for negative and positive. We're going to start with negative, so Sam, take us away.
Woo! So, negative character development. What exactly is that, Sam? Well, I'm glad you asked, dear listener.
I did ask.
I'm proud of you for asking. Thank you.
Boundaries. They're important.
But basically what your negative character development will look like is start off with, John Doe. He doesn't do, the worst things of humanity. I mean, negative character development is all about a descension. It can be a descent into madness. It can be a descent into addiction. Just like, oh, they used to be a really selfless person and now they're a really selfish person. It's anything that hinders your well-being or other people's well-being. So examples I have are Jack Torrance from The Shining. You see him start off as a loving father and husband, and he looks out for his duties, and then he just slowly descends into becoming an alcoholic, into harming and abusing his own son and trying to kill his wife. Another example I have is from my personal favorite book series, Moshe from The Way of Kings. You don't really get to see his descent until the end of book 2, beginning of book 3, where he goes from being a very sort of stand-up-esque character that's trying to do something right, and just he goes crazy and then attempts to kill the king. Frodo and Boromir. I know you're probably asking, why the fuck is Frodo in that list? Well, if you remember, he does kind of go a little bit off color. He starts becoming more kind of self-invested and just please rewatch or reread.
He wants that ring of power. At the very end, he wants that ring of power.
He wants the booty. But the booty in this case is a ring. So is he a single lady? Does that count?
I think he's a single lady.
I believe he's a single lady. And Boromir, who, you just have to watch the first movie. Maybe just the first 30 minutes.
If you've never seen Lord of the Rings, you need to, because it's a great movie series. But also, yeah, Boromir definitely does. And they both kind of
redeem themselves, but you still see that arc of negative character development. And the last two characters I have are Brutus from Julius Caesar, by William Shakespeare. And you see him go from, yes, this is what's right, what's good, to being persuaded and then stabbing a dude. Because, yes, negative character development can also come from persuasion and pressure from other people. That's why you shouldn't do drugs, kids. And then Solus from Dragon Age Inquisition, an actual egg and terrible creature. period. I'm still hurt. I'm still upset.
He could just go away at any point and I'd be okay.
He's a little too hard-boiled for my tastes.
That was an awful joke.
It was a great joke.
That was a awful joke.
All right, but I could talk about negative character development for a while, but we still have to talk about positive character development. Cassie, take us away, please.
Oh, I will. Positive character development. Honestly, look at almost every single protagonist you have in any book, and there is going to be positive character development. That's kind of what people expect from stories. They don't expect to go into a story and the character all of a sudden devolve into madness or evilness, unless that's the book you're looking for. Most books are going to slowly have your character build up. The ones that my mind focuses on the most is, I'm going to start backwards in my list, Cassandra from Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age 2, you're looking at her going like, wow, you're like the worst lady ever.
Man, what a bitch!
Wow, why are you being so mean to Hawk? To actually understanding more about her background and why she is the way she is in Inquisition. And she slowly redeems herself. Actually, quickly redeems herself, to me, at least. Next is Bilbo Baggins, specifically in The Hobbit. The story is a hobbit who does not want to leave home and is lazy and does not want to do adventures, who all of a sudden does these adventures, and ends the novel being a very selfless, kind person. There's a lot of character development there. We would be talking for hours if I did that. But you slowly see him grow and learn as a person, which is a lot of what positive character development is. It's learning and seeing the character grow. My last two are my favorite. My favorite book series is A Song of Ice and Fire. We've talked about this, but I've read them 5 times.
She has.
Sansa Stark is a really great...
She's a good egg.
She's a good egg. She's a great example of this because she starts the series off as a very young girl who has very romantic notions of how the world works. She wants to fall in love with a prince and get married and become a princess. And towards the 5th book, she's been through a lot of stuff, but that stuff has made her grow as a person, and she learns how to be more cunning and how to use people, which is what you would think almost a negative trait, but in a world like this is a great trait. You need to learn how to work with the world. My favorite positive character development is Jaime Lannister. I love my boy. He is not a great boy, but I love him. And specifically, I love the fact that in the 5th book, spoiler alert, he completely breaks himself off from Cersei because Cersei has gone crazy. And he's been slowly showing himself as a better character throughout the books, like slowly piecing himself away from his family, more being a great knight as he is supposed to be. In the 5th book, completely throws everything he was in before out the window, becomes a whole new character, and it's my favorite scene in the book. And anyone who's read the 5th book of A Song of Ice and Fire knows exactly what scene it is, and I will say 3 words. I love you. That's it.
I'll be honest, I stopped after the 3rd book, and I haven't touched them since high school. However, I do remember, like, he begins his redemption in the 2nd book or the 3rd book.
I would say, honestly, I think it's the 2nd book.
Yeah, I'd say, like, about middle.
Basically, when he meets Brienne of Tarth, he goes, wow, I'm a shitty person, and I want to be better.
Oh, what a mood. But besides that, I'd also say that Sansa is a wonderful example of a coming-of-age story, which we will... Don't worry, kids. We will start doing themed episodes later, probably this year. But another, like, important thing about just character development in general is to make sure they do develop and have some sort of arc, be it positive or negative. Otherwise, you'll end up with a static character, like... Cassie, I'm sorry. Severus Snape.
Oh, he is such a static character. I hate Severus Snape.
He does not change whatsoever. You have him in the first books, and yeah, he's mean. And yeah, by about the 7th book, he stops being mean. However,
He starts being just evil.
However, like, I'm going to make a case for this. We're just seeing different facet of his personality, which he's slightly complex, but he's really, really not. And there's no development for him at all. You'd probably be like, oh, but what about when he, does on behalf of Draco? No, he literally could not get out of that at all. It wasn't a free will choice.
And the thing is static characters aren't in them of itself bad, because you want a static character to be a foil to your main character. You want something to compare it to. The issue is having static characters when there is no need for a static character, or a static character that you're trying to pretend is something more than it is.
Like, oh my god, we can also talk about the delightful, like, literally just spin a wheel and, like, throw a dart at a board. Your favorite manic pixie dream girl. That trope should die, because, like, all she acts as is somewhat of an anomaly, or kind of like a foil for the main character to, oh, I'm gonna grow because this person is so quirky and unique, and it's gross and really irritating. And, like, there are some cases of which I think it's done well. Do I have any examples right now? No.
I actually do. Paper Towns. Paper Towns by John Green. I will stand by John Green. Maybe his books aren't always the best written, but I love them. They're an easy read to devour, and they're full of some thought-provoking quotes. But Paper Towns, it's been quite a while since I've read it, but I believe her name is Margot. I can't remember the main character's name now. I feel really bad about that. But Margot is portrayed as your typical manic pixie dream girl. She wants to go on road trips. She wants to go on vacations and all this. Basically wants to be weird. But she has a reason, and the difference is we're seeing her through the main character's eyes, but by the end we get to see her through her eyes. And she's not a manic pixie dream girl. She's herself. And the issue is everyone who's watching her sees just manic pixie dream girl, and that's the kind of ones I like. I like when they take the manic pixie dream girl element and spin it as what we find a lot in life is the manic pixie dream girl is rarely is your manic pixie dream girl, but she's her own person.
Oh yeah, abso-fucking-lutely.
Coming from a person who has been quoted as a lot of people's manic pixie dream girl.
Also as another person that's been quoted as a manic pixie dream girl, and like it gets really exhausting because you can only hear "you're my dream girl" so many times before you're just like, okay, that's cute. Anyway.
But basically, you don't want static if you're not looking for a static character. So all your characters need some type of development. Even your minorest characters, if you want them to feel more real, add a dose of something. Be like, they're going to change in this tiny way. And maybe it's a negative character development. I have a character in my story who starts off kind of static, and then towards the end, major negative character development. Not because I want them to be an antagonist, but because that's just what they would do.
Oh yeah, and we're not talking about like every single character in your story needs some kind of arc. We're just saying like characters that have interactions with major characters, tripping over my words is so much fun. But characters that are recurring characters need some kind of arc. So if they're going to appear often, or if they're going to appear and not have many lines or something, like it's kind of critical to see, like, everybody has a different story. You don't have to world build like me in order for all of your characters to have some kind of arc. You can just be like, oh, well, maybe this happened, or maybe this, or I need somebody to do this. And that works for a mini arc.
Yeah. It's just really important, and we're talking about minor characters. It's very important for your main characters to have character development.
Please
or
develop
else
your main characters.
Your story is boring and it's bland.
Ooh, I have an excellent example. Are you ready for this? Develop your characters with moral dilemmas. One of my biggest hatreds, because I'm going to bring up superheroes, and everybody is going to roast me for this and hate me, but I don't care. I don't like Superman. I also am not the biggest fan of Batman.
Wow, so many people don't like Superman or Batman.
You are correct.
I mean,
however,
a lot of people love them, but if you talk to most comic book readers, they don't like either one of those characters.
Exactly. And the reason why is because they are written very poorly. If you read anything with Superman, he's the Boy Scout. He doesn't ever mess up or fuck up or anything, and he's so morally good and etc. And that's because he doesn't have anything that's challenging him morally, because you can't, when you give a character something like super strength and invulnerability and longevity, etc., 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 you have to find some other way to humanize them, for the love of God.
You cannot make a perfect character. In fact, the most perfect character is an imperfect character. If they have a strength, you need to give them a weakness. If they make a really great decision, there needs to be some type of consequence that comes in. Because if not, they're just, one, not relatable, but two, your story doesn't go anywhere where most people are gonna read it.
The thing that drives stories, the biggest of all, is consequences. Conflict is the driving force behind your story. Like, that's why outlining is very critical, is because, like, I wonder how this story is going to go. Some people can just, like, pop off and write, and that's amazing to me, because I can't do that. All right, Cassie.
Yeah.
But, like, outlining is a wonderful help for this. And, like, sometimes if you're like me, you realize, that conflict's not going to work. And then you rewrite your story 7 times.
One draft only. That's a lie. If I just produced, like, one draft, it'd be shit.
They call me One Draft Cassie.
No, they call me 2 draft Cassie. Why is that? Because I have 2 drafts.
Oh
God, says me holding 5 drafts in my hands.
But characters are important, and I'm just gonna throw this fun tidbit out there. For the love of God, vary your dialogue, vary your speech patterns of your characters, because, like, that's something I worry about, is like, all my characters sounding the same.
Pro tip: speak your dialogue out loud. You're going to find things that don't work well in vernacular. You're also going to find that if you speak, even in not even a different voice, but in a different way, it's easier to write that dialogue. But also on that note, don't make your dialogue too accented if it's just for the sake of going, this person has an accent. Mostly because you don't want to read a whole page of, I governor, I don't have rah rah rah.
You sound like you got marbles in your mouth there, bud.
I do got marbles in my mouth. But basically, you don't want to have to read a whole page of that. I've read a book that's like that. It's not fun. You can basically get a gist of how a person speaks in an accent by maybe one phrase, and then occasionally putting in pre to post dialogue, blank says in a heavy accent. People are gonna understand.
Slang is your best friend.
Slang is so much fun.
Absolutely your
Make
best
your
friend.
own slang. It's so much fun.
Oh yeah, no, there's also generators for that. Slang generators. One of my favorite is the Scottish-Irish generator, because, as my friend Maggie says constantly, who is Scottish, it's a different language, period.
That's true.
Because I find Scottish Twitter hilarious, because I, for some reason, understand it. But also because you can just hear it in their voice.
Oh, you definitely can. But yeah, that's mainly my character development stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, we could get more in depth, like, character description and stuff, but that's a different topic entirely.
We would be talking for hours if we were just talking about characters in general, because I have a lot to say about them.
Oh yeah, but, like, to summarize, please, for the love of God, include a character arc, because it doesn't always have to be all one direction. It doesn't always have to be all down. It doesn't have to always be all up. The best characters are the characters that kind of look like a little wavy line. Also,
I love that wavy line.
It's a good line. But also something I wanted to say and keep forgetting over the course of this podcast, because my brain doesn't work sometimes.
Writing stuff down, it is sometimes important.
It's very important, especially if you want to tell a story. Also, for dialogue, grab a group of friends, write the dialogue, ask them to say it out loud, and then question yourself, is this how a person would talk? Hey guys, does this sound like a person? If they say, fuck no, you might have some things to rework.
You definitely do. And dialogue is one of those things that a lot of people have issues with. It's so either true. Dialogue or description. I love dialogue, but that's just because I'm a weirdo who likes to talk to myself, and thus I love writing out dialogue.
Can confirm.
Description is a little harder for me just because I don't know how much description to give, because I don't want to, like, here, have 18 pages of how this palace looks.
I love description. I think I personally find description easier than dialogue, and I have to, like, gauge myself on, how much exposition and description do y'all need?
Look at us. We're the true opposites of a writing spectrum.
And that's why it's pros and cons.
Yep.
But this is going to conclude our character development section. Cassie, do you want to briefly touch on how NakaCon was?
No. But I will. Naka was fun. Me and my friend Beja only went for 2 days. We enjoyed ourselves. It was a little weird because we're really tired from Planet Comic-Con. It was a lot of stuff to decompress from, so we weren't fully decompressed. Saturday morning, it was hard to get in my costume and, like, go to the convention because I'm just getting off of about 2 weeks of being sick. But once we got there, it was super fun. We went to the Maid Cafe, which is always really, really awesome. They give you, like, cakes and matcha cakes and an ice cream, like, mochi ball. And then we played Uno, but we played in the style of Yu-Gi-Oh! So we're nerds.
Oh, my God.
Me and Beja might have come up with new cosplays for next year. But then afterwards, we just kind of hung around. It's a fun con just to walk around, have people take pictures, get snacks, get Japanese snacks. It's so great. This year we tried honey butter chips, and people are going to look at me weird when I explain this.
I just did.
They taste like barbecue chips without the barbecue. They taste like honey barbecue chips, but take out the barbecue flavor.
There are times in which I wish we had a face cam. This is one of those times.
They're really good. And then it got ramune and mochi, Pocky.
I still haven't tried ramune. No, I've had ramune. I haven't tried mochi. I really want to try mochi.
I have mochi at my house, so eventually we'll do that.
Hell yeah.
But that was really fun, and then we ended up leaving a little bit early so that we could grab food and decompress in our hotel room because it was just a really long day. And then we went to the rave, which was awesome, really fun. Soft rave.
Is Skrillex still relevant?
No.
Damn.
But literally for 2 days, I was so stiff and sore from raving that it was not great.
Also can confirm, I saw her the following Monday.
Let's just say I was eating Tylenol like candy. Then on Sunday, it was really fun because Beja and I were like, we'll go for however long we go and then we'll leave. We did a really cute denim jacket girl gang.
You got through it.
As Sailor Moon and Sailor Venus. And it was the simplest cosplay because it was literally a skirt I had in my closet, a Sailor Moon shirt, a denim jacket, which I had ironed on patches of, like, Sailor Moon and Sailor Venus stuff, and then a wig, and I made a giant bow. I love making bows. If anyone wants bows, I found my talent is just making bows.
So now we're going to discuss future cosplay plans, or future cos plans, and what we're going to do for this year. And Cassie, would you make me a bow for my Sailor Mars cosplay?
Yes.
Awesome. So we're planning to do a Sailor Senshi cosplay. I also unfortunately gave Cassie another idea that we're going to have to iron out later, and we'll announce that later because it's gonna be really fun. And we're definitely probably gonna go through with it.
Yes, it's gonna be really fun, but it's a lot of planning, and I think I need more patterns.
Yeah, but it'll be kind of easier.
Kind of. I want to make some specialty stuff for that, though, so it looks more attuned to the theme, because it's really hard to find things that fit that theme.
All right. Don't you guys just love it when we're vague as hell?
I love being vague. But no, we're doing a photo shoot where we're doing punk Sailor Scouts. I'm gonna be Sailor Neptune at that point.
I need to find a long black wig.
Which I love because I can't wait till I get that sea green wig. I love wigs.
Yeah.
I have so many wigs.
We highly recommend Arda.
I strongly recommend Arda. I've never gotten a bad wig from them, and they're really easy to style and cut and everything.
At Arda, sponsor us. Anyway, other than that, we're still planning on going to RTX. So if you're gonna go to that, maybe hit us up a little bit.
Yeah, we would love to have people to hang out with because why not? Like, let's sit around and talk about Rooster Teeth. I could do it forever.
We really could. And we'll talk about our lineup for that. The most that we're going to tell you right now is that we're going to be cosplaying Ruby, and that's all y'all get to know.
Actually, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I will be Yang. Like, nothing is going to stop me from stating this. I am Yang. No one can stop me.
And I'm an experience.
Sure you are. We won't talk about, that's about it for this year's cosplay so far. We might have one or two that pop out of nowhere. And we won't talk about Planet of next year yet because we still need to iron out some details.
That's super far away. Good God.
Yeah, but if you don't start now, when are you going to get your cosplay done?
Don't call me out.
I'm calling you out.
I'll get it done the night before like everybody else.
I was done a week before this year, so I would like to say I'm really awesome. That's untrue. I was done 2 days before the con.
But at any rate, 2 more updates. The first one is we're now updating every Wednesday instead of every Tuesday. So look for us next Wednesday, and that topic is going to be about books we fucking hate.
I have a lot of strong opinions with this, and some of them may be wrong because it's been a while since I read some of these books. But there's only a few books that have gotten like a visceral, angry reaction from me. And boy, do I get angry at them.
I have a solid 2 that I'm about to pop off on, and then a couple that just make me uncomfortable. But anyway, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe follow us on Twitter and Instagram so you can like keep up to date with all of our shenanigans.
Yeah, we're gonna have some really cute pictures from NakaCon on my Instagram. So if you guys want to see some cute Sailor Scouts, I'd be into it.
And those links will be below. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye!
Bye!